Well, hello once again, everybody. I figured that when I was done mucking around with a camera, I probably would do this one. These are Christmas Christmas gifts that someone gave me. You know, sometimes people don't know what to get you, and you know, that's all cool. But someone got me these electronics kits, which is, I mean, okay. I mean, I'm not going to look, you know, look the other way when it comes to free components. Of course, I have, you know, every one of these components probably, you know, 100 times over. But that doesn't matter. Appreciate the gift. You know, I figured that I would take a look at these things. Because, you know, I have no idea who made these are these things that you buy on, like, I actually had to go and look this up. These things like come from Amazon or things like that. They're for you know, the learner. So this one is a semiconductor kit, 33 values and 320 pieces. So we have values of semiconductors. I mean, yeah, again, well, anyways. But 13 transistors and 20 diode types. 10 example circuits. 7 surface mount components with dip adapters. Okay. So, I mean, you know, I looked at them because when I got these things, I was curious. I was like, okay, let me open this up and see how bad this is. And there's these books. You know, I mean, okay. How circuits work. You know, this is the kind of stuff that you know, that I did in school. You know, but okay, how transistors work. Yeah, I mean, this is good for the beginner, but yeah, I learned this over 20 years ago. I've been out of school a long time, but anyway, I thought it was cool. You know, I didn't really. I mean, I looked at the books and I was like, okay. I mean, it's reasonably okay. You know, it explains how the circuit and how it works and all that. And then of course you have these bags inside of here with the various components. So we've got MJ172s, MJ182s, KSP13. MCR 100, 1N4148, you know, the common stuff. MPSA 92, lots of common 2N3904s, this is probably 3906s, and then of course we've got these dip adapters, the S102-T, which that's a diode? Yeah, that's got to be a diode. I've heard of the part. Not too sure what it is. But you know, that's the other thing. You don't get any data sheets with any of this stuff. You don't know what this is. You have to look all this stuff up to see what it is. The fact that it's got these little dip boards is kind of cool. And I see... interestingly enough, there's a diode on these boards. They have 3 pins, so they go into your breadboard. So that's kind of convenient. But they got a 3 pins there for your SOT transistor packages. So you know, the boards, I think, in my opinion, are probably worth more than the diodes. The little dip boards, because you saw your component on the stick in your breadboard. That to me is probably a little bit more valuable. You know, the component itself. You know, I mean, these are all common stuff. Oh, here's some more. No doubt, they're the same boards with these actually have a transistor on it this time around. And I guess that's the only. Are those the only little adaptive boards you get? Yeah. Oh, we got some big chunky diodes here. What do we got here? Oh, BY500s, okay. And then we got RC205, which is a bridge rectifier. So, yeah. Oh, even more. No, there's some more of the little packages. SMV1249s, okay. Transistor still mounted to tape. Those are STX616s. So, you know, we got more 10A01s. This is big chunky diodes, like 8, 10 amps or whatever they are. So I don't know. These are actually kind of cool for maybe the beginner. I'm not going to knock it. I think that it's cool. So that's the semiconductor kit, and now we've got resistors. And I opened this up because half-watt resistors. Okay, 86 values, 860 pieces. That's actually a fair bit of resistors. And of course, this actually is not really that bad of a way of storing the components. What's interesting about it is it's almost the exact same way that I actually store my components now. So you have a label on there. These 0 ohm resistors. This is your half-watt resistors in these little bags. No idea who makes these things. I'm sure that whoever made this all up and packaged it all up, probably the absolute cheapest resistors you can find. But you know what? If they work, who cares? It's especially since stuff like this actually is kind of handy to me because I do a lot of prototyping. So I'll go through them. I mean, I'll use them. So we've got components from 0 to 10 meg. It says it on the flap. And you have this resistor color code on the inside. I think the other box actually had something like that too. It just had the parts and the counts of each one. We have our resistor color code, and we had one of the things that used to make people frown is the resistor color codes. How I remember it, which was bad boys will rape our young girls, but Violet gives willingly. Not safe for work. It depends. Well, it depends. But that's still to this day how I remember the resistor color code. So yeah. Anyway, so I figured that I would show these, and I did have somebody ask me. I mean, a long time ago. How I stored parts, and I just said, I just store them in coin envelopes inside of cardboard bins. And I was like, oh, okay, it sounds reasonable. So I will pull one of my bins down off the shelf, and that's what I mean by cardboard bin and coin envelopes. Every one of them's labeled with what it is. They're all in order. So these are all quarter watt. That's a variable. Quarter watt variable. I mean, they're resistors. So I've got variables and regular resistors in here. So like a quarter watt variable resistor is going to be like one of those things. Or maybe not that package, but you get the idea. So, they're just, all neatly stacked in these boxes, in these cardboard bins. And this is how I keep parts. Sometimes you might see something, well, this is out of place. Guess what that is? That's in the wrong place. and if you guess that it's a thermal fuse, you're correct. These are, what's the temperature? 72°C. So, I'll put those where they belong. I have a box for fuses and thermal fuses and cutouts and things like that, just not in the resistor box. I suspect that that was just an oops. And chances are, because it was an oops, I probably, if I needed more, I had to go buy more. Anyway, there's the youngin', as they say here in the Southeast, going a little crazy. And that's how I keep everything. I keep other components like that as well. I've got inductors, all kinds of stuff. Caps, inductors, whatever it is. I mean, the smaller caps, of course. The larger capacitors, When you start getting into larger components, and that's kind of the issue that I have with components is with reels. I actually have boxes around me with reels, and this is if I actually send something off to have it stuffed. Sometimes I'm not going to sit here if I have to, you know, and I've had to do it where I've, you know, made something and then, okay, well, I need 300 of them. I'm not going to stuff them. So, you know, when you have semiconductors that are on reels, I just have them in boxes, you know, for whatever project it's going to be used for, and you know, that's basically it. Now, when it comes to larger components, well, it kind of gets a little messy. You know, it's, you know, we got bands of caps, 1,000 mic caps. You know, it's just, depending on the kind of components we're talking about, it can get messy, but they're all in order and they're all neat, and you know, I know where they are. The only other issue, other than large components like capacitors and maybe some large inductors, are when you start having tubes of ICs, or in this case IC sockets. You know, the tubes are okay. I don't have very much of an issue with them. They pretty much can just go in a pile, depending on what kind they are. Sockets, I mean, I've got a... this is actually just close by because I need a socket. So I actually went and pulled this out of a box. I used to have all these parts and things like this, like these boxes of parts. I used to have all these in, incidentally, where the baby is now. And I had them on shelves and things like that in there. So when we knew that we were going to have the baby, that's when my parts room, I was evicted from my parts room, and now I'm actually surrounded by boxes of parts, which is inconvenient, most decidedly. So I actually, even though I have all these bins with parts in them, the problem with that is now they're all in a disarray, and I mean, I quite literally in my room here, and this is a maybe 15 by 18 foot room in here, and oh, there goes the baby. So anyways, I'm gonna cut this particular thing short and go tend to the baby. But this room is a fairly large room, and I have paths through it, so that's what I was getting ready to say. So anyway, that's basically it. Before I forget, surface mount components. I guess the baby settled down, so all will be well in there. I have a lot of these boxes that you can buy, like these, to put surface mount components. So these are resistors, like 0402s or something. Yeah, these are 0402s. You have all these resistors and caps and things like that, all surface mount stuff in these little boxes like this. So that's pretty much how I keep parts, fellas. And you know, again, these are my only electronics related gifts. These kits from somebody who thought that I could use them, and I absolutely can. I mean, I actually am not. I think they're actually really cool kits. I can't really complain. Free is good, but you know, and they're not badly assembled. I mean, that's the other thing about it is, you know. And I contemplated I was just going to take these things out and put them in my bags up there, but the hell with it, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I mean, because it's very neat. There's no reason for me to pull this apart at all. I'm just going to leave them like they are. Throw them up on the shelf along with all the other resistors. And this This I'll probably take apart because this is not a clean method of storing these things. I'm not going to go rummaging through this box to find a diode or a transistor. These are going to go with all the other ones. So that I'm going to separate out. These half-watt resistors, I'm going to leave them just the way they are. Anyway, guys, I hope that was interesting. Till next time.